The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there. Welcome to the show. This is Propaganda. Dan here along with Michael and Moscow White as we dive into the football world, find out what's been said in the last 7 days. Michael, the show is brought to you with Levi Solicitors. Did you know that?
I did. Mm-hmm. Just got my T-shirt out. Not wearing it.
Unofficial merch. This is bootleg black market merch, isn't it? Can't actually buy this from our merch store.
We should really get someone to clamp down on it if only I knew solicitors.
Yeah, intellectual property.
All that, yeah.
And so on.
That's your big three.
That says wills, probate and conveyancing. Remember, we have audio listeners.
That's the big three, it says on the back of the T-shirt.
It doesn't say that's the big three, it says that's the three.
That's the three, but it is a big three.
It is the big three. I'm going to set you a challenge now. I feel like the message around the big three, wills, probate, conveyancing, you've sold it very well. It's time to look at the difficult second album. We need to evolve the message, keep things fresh.
Not so sure. I just want to keep playing the hits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can still play the hits. Yeah, you don't want to go see the Rolling Stones and they don't do Brown Sugar, do you? That's fine. Still do wills, probate, conveyancing.
Okay.
But we need to do a second album. None of the experimental stuff that's going to follow in 3 or 4 albums' time. Just let's think about what else we can do.
I'm going to need a holiday.
Right.
Go away and think about it.
You have loads of holidays.
Well, a thinking one.
Right.
A proper one.
Okay.
To go find myself. Go to India for 6 months or something.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles.
You are still a huge fan of wills, probate and conveyancing, all three.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still my favourites.
Getting your affairs in order, moving house, all very important. What else do you like that they do that you could maybe think about concentrating on for the forthcoming second album?
Oh, probably some of the commercial stuff to do.
This is the same answer you gave me last time.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
in that case, some of the...
It's almost like you're doing this on the hoof and you don't care enough about our...
No, I do. I've delivered a good message. There are not many...
You're opening their website now and filling time. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for our landing page. 10% discount on your legal fees there, by the way. Thank you. Go on then. Say it.
Say what?
Whatever you're Googling now.
I feel shy now.
Go on, just do it. You've been told.
Well, you stopped me opening the website earlier.
Did you actually do it? You stopped out of shame?
I did, yeah. I think for you, as in per people, personal dispute resolution, professional negligence, residential property disputes. Mm-hmm. It's just some of the...
Arguing about fences.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, you can speak to them about fences.
Cool. Right, let's move on and not sully the good name of Levi Solicitors anymore. What's on today's show, Michael? Who we got coming up?
Got reasonable Ipswich fans. A couple of different batches of them. Geordies, because they lost, didn't they? That was quite funny. Mm-hmm. Even though it was to Liverpool, which is, a mixed bag.
You're picking your lesser of two evils there, aren't you? In a sort of really literal sense, actually, almost.
Yeah, a little tiny bit of Webby and O'Neill. Some Americans. Yeah, a bit of a broad mixture of stuff.
Cool. Have we kept up with Lone Watch as well?
Well, I just dipped back in to see how Rasmus was getting on.
Right.
Again.
If things have got better for him.
Because he seems probably the most amusing. Brendan did get sent off, actually, on Lone Watch. Mm-hmm. Did you see what it was for?
Kick the ball away, didn't he? Did he?
Well, the first one was, then the second one was for a brutal foul. He didn't touch him particularly, but someone jumped up and made a meal of it. And normally I would feel sympathy, but having seen Brendan make a meal of every tackle that's ever gone in on him...
You hate him because he's American, don't you?
I sort of thought, well... Yes, that's probably...
That is the single reason. You weren't in any way just frustrated at his general performance alongside many others.
Not because he's a flimsy boy.
No. But let's start then. Let's kick things off with Leeds fans. And all right, we lost to Salford. Whatever. Not bothered, are we, about the cups?
We didn't lose, we drew.
We drew to Salford, and then we were denied by the gaping arms of Carl Darlow.
I took a screenshot of that this morning just for my own sanity. I had to go through... frame by frame, just to see exactly how it happened. It's fairly extraordinary. It's almost, it's sort of mad that it managed to go through his arms without taking his head off. Like, you'd think it really did find, whoever it was took it really did find the gap. You just don't expect the gap to be formed by the goalkeeper's outstretched arms.
Like an impossible fairground game, isn't it? You've got to try and kick it through the goalkeeper's arms as he was moving. You think, well, no one's ever going to do that. It's just a way to get a quid off you. Possible. The
one he got penalised on as well, that ended up winning it for Salford, was, I think he only ended up off his line because that player did such a weird mazy run up and Darlow couldn't deal with it, so he ended up 4 yards off his line, waiting for him to take it, which is a good tactic from the Salford player. He definitely outfoxed him, but he yeah, he was banged to rights on that. Oh, well.
Alex Cairns was very keen to point out how much he'd encroached as well. You could just see him at the side.
He ran over, didn't he?
Going,
Yeah.
He's miles off. Which, I mean...
He was.
You didn't need to have a particularly keen eye to spot that, did you? He was about on the edge of his 6-yard box when he saved it.
I would just like to reiterate my apologies that I issued when we recorded with Phil before this for my shambolic performance on the match ball. I was not in a good place yesterday. I'm still not 100% today, but in much better shape after the wedding in Ireland on Monday.
You have just coughed your way all through a Phil Hay show, so I look forward to hearing more of your...
However, I've just had honey, lemon and ginger tea, which seems to have helped a little bit. So I'll try and not chug the cough medicine. Can you have too much cough medicine?
Sure, hear some people who can speak properly.
Yes, I think that's probably for the best, don't you?
The Leeds clips, by the way, are from post-Ipswich. That's why people sound, in the main, quite happy and pleased with our finishing.
It hasn't taken the shine off. It hasn't taken the shine off Ipswich, has it? Has it?
It's probably taken the shine off Rutter a little bit because everyone was like, "Oh, he's brilliant." I was looking on Wacko, and there were people saying, because there's been a bit of interest, people saying we shouldn't sell him for less than 40 million after he scored 1 goal, and then he took that penalty, and everyone was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll take the 25."
Just get our money back.
On that basis, my idea of spending £40 million on Matthew Smith is sensible again, isn't it?
I was going to say, if ever there was a goal that was destined to happen, it was that for you, wasn't it? Did you cheer it?
I didn't cheer it, but...
Did you just quietly, silently punch the air?
No, I appreciate it because it's a really good Matt Smith goal. Not because he makes it as well as finishing it. He wins an aerial battle, and then there's a bit of head tennis. It's broken out because nobody can bring the ball down from where Matt Smith has put it. Did you know it used to be managed by Lee Johnson? That's funny, isn't it? And then he takes charge, chest control, lovely touch out to the wing, and then he's straight in the box to get on the end of it, and of course the cross
finds the gap beneath Darlow's arms on this occasion.
Well, no, I think it was in front and then over. I think the ball bounces in front of Darlow, and then it's a little bit
like the gif of that child goalkeeper.
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, the thing is, Matt Smith, 10 yards out, header. He's going to do a really good job of
heading.
Yeah, of heading it in a really difficult place to get. So he'd beat most keepers that way. But yeah, so there's a smidge. But I don't know who would have saved it because Smith on form is unstoppable. And the only reason
makes you wonder why he spent most of his life playing in like League 1 and 2, doesn't it?
The only reason I don't want us to spend 40 million on him is because I don't want any of that money to go to Neville and Scholes and Butt and their ilk because they've got enough, frankly, with their little. How did Neville get that commentary gig last night? I tried to balance it out with Michael Bridges, but Michael Bridges has never literally owned Leeds United.
Did he do the last time we played Salford in the League Cup?
I can't remember.
Probably. But let's assume that he did.
It seemed like there's not only us having to listen to him, but the conflicts as well, because they showed when one of the Salford players missed the penalty, they showed a replay of Neville in the commentary box before it, looking at the others going like, he's going to miss this, he's going to miss this. Like, you can't have the owner of the club doing that before one of their players takes a penalty. Like,
especially when they look like Gary Neville as well.
That's going to be awkward next time. Neville has to be in there, so we want, everybody's got to stick together. Is that we did fucking stick together with that shootout when you were reckoning I was going to miss? So hopefully that's the thing that's brings about Salford falling apart piece by piece, because
the source of their demise, that moment.
I'm just tired of playing them. We've never been in the same league as them, and yet we seem to play them 3 times this season. And unless Matt Smith is going to play for them forever, that's the only thing that makes it worthwhile. And I suppose Alex Cairns was good as well.
Do you know what Matt Smith's brother's called?
Is it Pierre?
It's close. This is half brother, actually.
Jean-Pierre?
Klaus.
Very close. Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois. I told you.
Half brother, though. He's a former professional basketball player.
There are only a limited number of names that are allowed to be given to children in France, aren't they? They come off like a defined list. So
I mean,
I wonder if that's why.
You raised the question of why Smith has always played his football in the lower leagues. It's also why France were messing about with Thierry Henry and Kylian Mbappe over the last so many years, when they could have had him in the team.
Anyway, let's hear from the Leeds fans.
About Ipswich.
You got to be happy for Jorginho getting the monkey off his back, putting in his first goal, and the way he scored it was really spectacular. So very happy for the lad, and I'm sure that this will help give him the confidence that he needs to go, especially if that front four stays the same, we can only expect to score more fun goals like we did against Ipswich. So really, really encouraging performance, and a little bit of a nod of the cap as well to Shax. That through pass for Cine's goal was really extraordinary. So all in all, great job, boys. Marching on together. Let's keep going.
Non-tone Sinistera, they can do one for thinking they're better than Leeds United, but they are too good for the Championship, and that is, I think, what we need if we're going to get out of it, isn't it? There's a load of players that are a bit too good for this level. Sinistera, probably the best player in the division. Pirot, probably best striker in this division. Farker, probably best manager in this division. I think we're going to be all right.
A great day, the old sky bed. Cody Drame is not Roberto Carlos, which is unfortunate. I can't recall if you've ever had a player subbed on before halftime and subbed off at halftime. The other physical comedy thing that was pretty funny was Jamie Shackleton shooting his boot into space. There was a moment where I thought the Earth and everyone on it is actually orbiting Jamie Shackleton's right boot. I kind of wish we could make a Champo bingo card where we just have things that would not be tolerated because they're too slapstick for the Premier League. They can only happen in the Championship. I think booting your boot into space is one. Playing less than 10 minutes of the first half without sustaining an injury is another. If you guys find a way to monetize it, I'll take 3% in honor of Cody Drame's passing percentage.
Even though Messier conceded 3 goals against Ipswich, was it my imagination, or did he actually look a better keeper and was rather unlucky to concede 3 goals? Did he look like he was getting back to something like the form we know he can show? And is this down to him finally getting out from underneath that useless goalkeeping coach we used to have at Leeds?
Hail, Scott White, the Kentucky Yorkshireman, reporting live from Kissmore Castle on the Isle of Barra and the Outer Hebrides. Well, all I can say is I told you so. Trust and fart. Forgive 19-year-olds. Wait till the window closes before panicking. It's funny to listen to you guys. Of course, it's honest. You've recruited over years and years. I've only been a supporter since 2010. But, yeah, this was great. Bring it on. I'll be calling in from somewhere else next week. Bye.
Farka's doing something with this club. His attitude, his demand on the players, his appeal to the fan base to just let this, sort of play out, that he knows what he's doing, that he trusts leadership. We should just sit back and ride this, because I've got a feeling that it's going to be bumpy, but at the end of the season, we're probably going to be really, really happy.
Not only did we beat Ipswich 6-1, yep, that's 6, going by the Moscow White scoring technique, I can also put to bed a nightmare which has been hanging with me since 1974 of Clive Wood scoring the winning goal for Ipswich in the third replay of an FA Cup game, listening to all the matches on Radio 2 back in the day. So, yes, happy days. Marching on.
This is the International Broadcast Service on BBC Radio 2. The BBC Radio 5 Live came about from that, didn't it? The split off.
What is your scoring technique, Moscow? How is it 6-1? Explain to people.
Can't remember.
Just cause.
Yeah, just cause, I think.
Scored by cheating and stuff.
Quite a high proportion of Americans, by the way, there in the clips. I'm surprised you haven't driven them all away with your hatred of them and all their countrymen, which is we've established now.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for sticking with us, despite Michael's efforts to drive you away. Things that should only be allowed in the Championship. Neil Warnock.
Not for much longer. Well, you say not for much longer. He'll be gone and then he'll be back and then he'll be gone
4-0
and then he'll be back.
to Norwich it was.
There's no way, we were chatting in the office before this, weren't we? I was saying there is no way that Warnock sees out this season. Because he's only doing it as a favour to the chairman. And of course, I came in under difficult, and all that. It'll be February. They didn't bring in the reinforcements that I wanted in the January window. It's no surprise we're struggling. It's time to let someone else have a go.
Will he want to spend Christmas in Huddersfield?
No.
I mean, he won't anyway, but,
true,
what's his next games milestone?
To get to like...
Yeah, has he got to get to like 1,000 or something?
He's done 1,000, hasn't he? Yeah.
Is there another... Has he got to do a certain number of league games, or has he got to do a certain number of photos? Anyway.
Who's the oldest manager?
Yeah, he'll probably try and beat him. It'll be him and Roy Hodgson both grimly holding on.
Meslier improved. Certainly looks like his confidence is returning after taking an absolute peppering over the last couple of seasons. Although we haven't kept a clean sheet in quite a long time now. We could do with a clean sheet.
Keep conceding first as well, even to Salford. But they did have more firepower than most teams bring.
I do feel like he's probably more secure now we've seen a bit of Darlow. Because I think when Darlow came in, everyone was like, oh yeah, he'll be the first choice probably. Meslier will go. Now we've had a little look and we've gone, let's see how Meslier is going to get on now under a different goalkeeping coach. Maybe he was back, wasn't he? Already was A-Bad, wasn't he? He was there in front of the Cop when we played West Brom. He's gone there, hasn't he?
He may be going full-time on YouTube, I don't know. But Meslier was, it was the archetypal Meslier game that we've been used to, where he makes some really, really good saves and concedes 3.
Yeah.
So quite happy to sort of have that back in our lives. And there is still, it will be interesting if we do keep him. I hope we do, because everything's quite new anyway. Like it's an entirely new defence in front of him, which as we speak, Jed Spence is being ushered into one side of it, and we may end up with another left back on the other, and whatever else happens in the transfer window. So all that's different and new midfield. So he's got a new goalkeeping coach. So there was a lot of the talk at the end of last season was like, oh, Meslier needs a fresh start, whereas I think it was really Angus Kinnear needs 20 million quid to buy some players. But the fresh start can happen here, but it doesn't happen by the end of August when we haven't even finished all the building the team yet. So there's still time. And if you can keep making the worldy saves, but then lose the bit where sort of Cody Drama is just hitting
hospital passes.
Yeah, stupid back passes in his vague direction. Then that will hopefully improve the whole situation.
Who is it? Kilkenny man made me laugh with the comment that he sent in saying Leeds are back with their classic mullet formation of business at the front but a shambles at the back. What a time to be alive.
I mean, it's funny, everything looks better, doesn't it? Strauch is in better form. Rodon looks really good, scored an own goal. So it's still getting better than it was, but I suppose it takes a while for all these individual improvements to cohere into some kind of team improvement.
One matter that we do need to keep an eye on, young men's groins. Lee and Cheese has suggested that we have passed through their plantar fasciitis era and we've moved on to the adductor complications era, because that's Sam Byram who's had a bit of a problem with his adductor, which is, as we understand it, it's the muscles on the inside of the thighs.
Adductors and abductors are a different thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what Pervader's got as well?
Might be.
Yeah, and Dan James.
Yeah, that is weird.
I did mean to. I'll do it now.
live Googling
live
again.
Googling. I was going to look to see if I do a search for Daniel Farker and adductor. So
Todd Cantwell, Timu Pukki, all this stuff.
Well, yeah, this is it. 2021, Grant Hanley sustained an adductor injury. Let's see if I can.
Can I ask you, Michael, do you prefer the adductor longus or the adductor brevis?
The brevis.
What about the adductor magnus?
No, brevis.
Rank those 3.
Brevis, Magnus, other one.
Longus.
Longus. I feel like Brevis and Magnus have got proper names, and then there's been another one that they've realised is long, and they've gone,
I'll call it the long
don't
one.
know any other words, call it Longus, just to be consistent.
So Marcus Thuram had an adductor strain when he was at Mönchengladbach last year. I was going to filter this by date as well. Are
you accusing Farker of something?
Well, I had 2 theories on this. Either his training causes adductor strains.
So it's not the Bielsa burnout, it's the Farker freakout.
It's the Farker groin out. Or his limited command of language means that he just kind of says everything's an adductor. Yeah, Oriol Hernandez, adductor, Sam Byram, hamstring, so that was different. Who else? Maybe not loads. But so I had 2 theories. Either he's causing them all with his training methods, or he just, it's like, you know how he always says, this is the topic, this is not the topic that I'm talking about, there will be a different topic later. If every injury to him is just like an adductor strain, it's like, oh, it is an adductor strain. And none of them, it's actually like Sam Byram is
You can't think of any other injuries now, can you?
His neck is rotting.
Well,
and he just says, it's an adductor strain because it's easier.
I've just had a look at these Google images, and there is a graphic of what muscles are involved in adductor strains. The pectineus is involved in this as well. Mm-hmm. What's your favourite feature of the pectineus?
Well, a feature of a muscle. You're not a medical man, are you? I'm not speaking to you about this.
The gracilis?
The gristly bit, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the 5 that are involved. Your 3 adductors, your brevis, your longus, your magnus. Then there's the pectineus and the gracilis.
They're bigger than I thought, the adductors, actually. I imagine them being quite little things.
Yeah.
No, quite large.
Yeah. The thigh is a hefty area, isn't it?
This is reminding me of when Marcelo Bielsa described Pablo Hernandez as having a small groin problem and then...
giggling like a schoolboy about it.
Burst into laughing about him having a small groin.
Anyway, that little detour into adductor strains. Should we get back to the clips?
I want to touch on Pascal Strauch, actually, because Moscow, I was going to mention it then when Moscow was talking about him improving. Because do you follow his Instagram closely so you can see big sexy pictures?
Has he been out on the high seas again with his parrot?
Not quite, but he did put the picture on after the win. No one Kenner said Capitano with a little love heart face and some flames, which was nice. And then Abigail Mondria, who I believe is future Mrs. Pascal Strauch. Don't think they're married yet, although they're engaged.
He wouldn't tell anybody. Remember, they had children and he just didn't say anything.
Did we not get a sickening proposal picture? Was that the one?
There was the sickening proposal.
Someone
just happened to have a camera there,
which he set the very high bar, which all of the Leeds proposals since I think have failed to. Although Jackie Harrison came quite close, but he wasn't even proposing. He was just like a sushi chef on a beach, just for no reason.
Dan James did a big one as well, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I'm sure there was like big letters behind and stuff. Big light up letters. He was in a white suit.
Remind us how you proposed to your missus.
Pissed at Christmas.
Pissed at Christmas, covered in turkey fat, in the kitchen in a scraggly t-shirt.
Anyway, here's Abigail.
You sexy bastard. It's only got better since then, hasn't it?
But anyway, Abigail Mondria, who is planning to marry the man, has commented on it. Sexy pirate for the win.
Who was it that told us that they'd mentioned to Strauch that we'd christened him the big sexy pirate, and he was a bit nonplussed and confused by it? Presumably he's now gone away to his future wife and explained that they're calling me the sexy pirate.
She was like, yeah.
And she's like, brilliant, I'm sticking with that.
I'm bang into it, yeah.
Unless when he went to her and said people
a little bit of cosplay going on.
If he went to Abigail and said people are calling me the big sexy pirate, she's like, yeah, I listen to Square Ball all the time. They've been saying that for ages. Have you not caught up? So thanks, Abigail, if you're listening.
It was Kieran P. Smith 1 on Twitter who sent me a message because he'd spotted that
thank you,
on
Kieran.
Instagram. So worth keeping an eye on. Yeah, and I'm glad we've created a little bedroom game for them.
Yes, the next one is going to be...
Just calling him captain and things like that.
We need to look out for Mrs. Dan James in the comments going, go on, you little scum bastard.
Oh, dear me, trying to kill me. Right, clips, back to those. Go on.
Shall we hear from some Ipswich fans?
Whereabouts are we looking here?
Let's hear from Alex Griffin. He's a YouTube man. He does some vlog stuff. The video starts quite confusingly. I know we start this with some clunky solicitor adverts, but
much loved though.
He's outside a Chinese restaurant.
Yep.
And then the owner comes out and says, I just want to get some Ipswich fans to come down here. Then they make him spin a wheel. And his dad's dressed as a tin of baked beans at this point as well.
Oh, right. Now, I saw some bits of this, and it confused me a great deal.
Yeah, the whole thing's a bit confusing. His dad's just, without explanation, dressed as a tin of beans. Then the man who from the Chinese restaurant has to spin a wheel.
Right.
Which is deciding...
Do we need a wheel?
You've already got a gavel.
I've got my gavel and my block.
But anyway, so he spins the wheel to decide what Alex will wear to the next game, which is the Leeds game.
Oh, they'll just be wacky, like novelty ties in the office.
But then
maybe.
it stops on just a away shirt, and he's clearly gutted because he's like,
we want people laughing at you, wouldn't we? Put the beans back on.
So then they spin it again, and then he ends up dressed as Woody from Toy Story. So he's speaking to people outside the ground.
Have you been on the acid? Is this some sort of acid fever dream?
But dressed as Woody from Toy Story.
Right.
And he's speaking to people. The interviews are all fairly normal, other than he just says,
a cowboy.
Do you know what I'm dressed as? To everyone, and they go, Woody from Toy Story, and he goes,
there's a snake in my boot.
Yay! He just does that for everyone.
Right.
Whatever makes him happy. It's a bit small as well. I think it might be cutting in.
Right.
A touch.
Oh, really?
Bit of because I think it might be a wanna. So it looks like it's different parts, but I think it's all in in one.
There's a lot of gatherage going on.
It just looks a little bit uncomfortable.
Was he dressing to the left or the right?
Had he gone a size up?
Dressing to the left or right?
I didn't notice, actually. But this is him speaking to their fans after the game. And
dressed as a cartoon cowboy.
And no one being bitter about it, which was a bit of a shame.
A little bit of a reality check today, wasn't it? Decent side, Leeds. They're going to go up. You know, too strong, too fast, too well organised. I think we paid them a bit too much respect, to be honest, but we were well beaten today, even though it was only 3-4. But we were well beaten. They're a decent side.
Come against a good side with 3 great attackers, really good attackers. A couple of individual mistakes, which cost us, but at the end of the day, they're a good team. They're going to go up.
Don't want to sound negative, but I was kind of not expecting a win today. We played okay, but I think it's a good reality check for us. Yeah. And fingers crossed for Saturday.
And you were sitting in the Cobbled end. Talk to me about the Leeds fans, because I respect Leeds a lot, and their fans today were unbelievable.
The Leeds fans were very loud. They had fantastic chants. We did have quite a lot in our stand as well, actually, but they all behaved well, and, you know, they're football supporters, aren't they?
On to the next.
Why has everyone been nice to us now since we've come down? Stop being reasonable. You're supposed to hate us. We're supposed to be the pantomime villains of the division, aren't we?
He did say that we have 3 good attackers.
So 4. Yeah.
Who did he not like? Because I thought they were all good. Joel Perreault on debut was great.
Well, they all scored, didn't they?
And it's the big thing from the big difference between that and Salford is he's there and just scores.
All of them. We would have won 30-1, wouldn't we, last night?
He's
got 33 chances.
Yeah, he's quite easy to play with by the looks of things as well, because he did his goal was him just standing at the back next to Archie Gray, big ping, Sinisterra's a shot, and now he's in the penalty area to score. And then the chance he nearly got through where it wasn't it a 1-2, just gave it to did he give it to Sinisterra and then he just ran and got it back from him. Like it's just it seemed the difference against...
It's amazing that we're struck by the novelty of doing passes to our teammates, given what we endured last year.
And he just knows what he's doing. I think that was the difference against Salford, is we had 4 very young players who haven't really played with each other, all kind of getting into positions and then going like, oh, well, I think I'll try this and see if it works. Whereas Pro has been around enough and he's scored enough goals, he just goes like, actually, I'll just put it in the net because I know how to do that. So I don't need to worry about, I don't need to think about what might work, because I just know what works. Even that one that, the one that Sinisterra put him through for, if it was Sinisterra, where it was saved at the near post, was still a good effort. And so if they didn't like Perreault, they're wrong. Also, if they didn't like Wi-Fi, he scored a worldie, so that was a great goal. And then Gnonto and Sinisterra obviously both could be playing in the Premier League. So
it's twice you've tried the Wi-Fi joke. I'm not sure it's going to work.
He's fine. And then, so which one are they leaving out?
Don't know.
Well, Willie Gnonto has been a very naughty boy, hasn't he?
They wouldn't know that.
He was a very cross boy last night, wasn't he?
Which
I get what against Salford.
I thought he was going to get sent off at a certain point.
He's always like that.
Every
single game.
He's a young man's fury.
Thing is, he was like this last year, but I thought better of him then.
Yeah.
whereas now I can't.
You're morally questionable, young man.
Whereas now I can't shake the idea that he's a bit of a prick. But did score in this one, didn't he? So one of his 27.
Yeah, correct. Right
in the bank. Jez actually comments on what is wrong with Ipswich fans. Did you see them as Cine scored and ran away in front of them? They just sat there silently. Perhaps a couple clapped. No wanker signs on Visa or anything, just stony silence.
No missiles.
They should learn from the little kid yelling at Bamford a few seasons back.
That was the double fist wank at Luton, wasn't it? The double wanker signs when we were back in the Championship. That was good fun. Where now?
Do you want to hear from some of the reasonable Ipswich fans, or should we... Let's get the Ipswich stuff all done.
Let's wrap it up, before we get into the comedy stuff.
This was Blue Monday and...
Monday, Blue Room.
No, Blue Monday.
Blue Monday?
Blue Room is still to come. That's Everton.
All right. Blue Monday.
Keep going down that sheet.
All right. Oh, there's more down there. Look at that. Right.
Yeah, again, being reasonable. They actually, I've not included the clip, but they were all in agreement that they're opening goals offside as well.
Oh.
I'm yet to see an angle of it, but they were all saying it. So I'm happy to say that the Huddersfield fan referee allowed that to stand wrongly. And
isn't it great to see the away end in the Cobbles?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Completely full. You know what you're going to get with Leeds fans. They travel up and down the country. Maybe you need to get a couple more songs, perhaps. But wink, wink, Leeds fans.
For once, I didn't quite hear the Champions of Europe song. I didn't think I heard that yesterday. But
I think they generally sing. Actually. They seem to sing that one, Dave, when they're losing against us.
That's a good point. They do. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, but Marching On Together is such a unique song, isn't it? Because they seem to sing different parts of that song, and
they do.
I'm listening, thinking, "Oh, what are they singing now?" And then it's like, "Oh no, this is just
the secret second verse,
an early bit to Marching On Together."
I mean, the Ethan Ampadu Agadoo is just a dream, isn't it? That's just a dream.
If we are limited in our song repertoire, it's because we don't have any heroes yet, do we? We're just getting them now, our new heroes. We didn't like any of our team last year.
No, did any of them get... Which of the new players got songs last year?
Well, proper standoffish.
Obviously, Willie did. And
it was the American Boy thing, wasn't it?
It wasn't entirely successful, wasn't Willie's?
I mean, you got really angry at the American Boy song, didn't you? Because I hate Americans. That's what you were saying.
I had a really limp cover of that the other day when I was out of American Boy. They'd sort of taken all the energy out of it.
Like when people do covers for Christmas.
Yeah,
adverts.
It was one of them.
Sad one. That sad acoustic version.
That upset me a bit.
Yeah.
But they also had some stuff to say about Archie Gray, which was interesting, because I thought he played badly by any stretch, but I felt like we lost control of midfield a bit, but they're just saying how good he is.
I mean, Ampadu's a £7 million player, but young Gray in there I thought was a great player. Absolutely. It's for 17. You know, more than held his own really all game against Morsey and Luongo, who've just been steamrolling midfielders, haven't they, for the last 6 months, back half of last season, and probably so far this season, certainly against Stoke and the games I've seen. But it was. I mean, it was. I think we already touched on it. It was that, and it was the extra quality they've got.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed Archie Gray's performance as well. And when I was watching him, I was thinking, I bet Dave is really enjoying watching this.
Ben said, Dave, you'll love this. His left foot, plays with his head up, gets it, receives it. He called him like a little meerkat, here, there and everywhere, but he'll just keep the midfield ticking over. I thought he was better on the day than Ampadu, actually.
Well, there you go, Archie Gray.
Yeah, he loves that stuff, Dave. Always.
Do you know?
Well, because he about that. He's
never stops, does he? Relentless.
He's always one for if a midfielder has got his head up, Dave's there. So he's always buying tickets for any game where he thinks that's going to happen.
Like a meerkat.
Do we ever praise opposition players? I don't feel we really do.
It's funny that
any of them are. I thought Leif Davis was all right.
Well, what I was kind of
Matt Smith.
What I was kind of caught by then was my own, because we've been in the Premier League for 3 years, my Premier League arrogance, and I thought Morsey and Luongo sounds like such a championship midfield. I've no idea who these people are. And it's such because I've been conditioned to the god-awful Premier League. I thought, that's how quaint.
I can slag off some opposition players because I watched Morsey twice now because I saw a bit of them Ipswich against QPR, and he was just running around kicking people and trying to get booked. And then here again, he was just running around kicking people, trying to get booked. And it's like, so I thought these Ipswich people were supposed to be like the League One Barcelona playing beautiful attacking, passing football. Turns out they've got a couple of thugs in their midfield.
Do you know where Morsey started his career?
Go on.
This will explain it for you. Port Vale.
Well, there you go.
Scum.
You can't unteach.
A Leeds-hating bastard from the off.
Yep. So now it makes sense that he was kicking Archie Gray with all the power of Port Vale stealing our place in the Football League in 1919.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's something I can say about opposition player.
Are we heading to the blue room
Who else
now?
was good? Oh, that Broadhead. He looked dangerous. He seemed to get the idea that if you
sounds like a middle-aged knight. Does Broadhead
that if you got between Ampadu and Gray and our defenders, then there was space there, wasn't there? And he ended up scoring, but Drami had to set it up for him.
I didn't mean a middle-aged knight. I meant a knight from the Middle Ages. A middle-aged knight is like a knight in his 40s or 50s.
In the Middle Ages, to be fair,
you don't make it to 50.
You wouldn't have made it to 50, particularly if you're a knight.
No, like life expectancy of about 12 or whatever. Right, are we going to the blue room now? Sorry.
The blue room, yeah. This is Everton, who have lost again. Not won a game this year, have they?
Mark, you've got 30 seconds. anyone who didn't watch that football match, explain it to them in 30 seconds.
Well, this being the first time we've ever done this, there's no previous, but I can guarantee you now, if you listen back to this equivalent podcast in 1, 2 or 3 seasons' time, this 30-second summary will be the same, because this is getting all a bit Groundhog Day. Everton battering at the door for 20 minutes, getting everyone inside the stadium thinking that they're going to see some actual positive football, and then the realisation that you've got a bad manager, some bad football players, a bad owner, a bad stadium, the grass isn't even cut nice, everything about the place is horrible. Try as they might to do the unthinkable of score a football goal, it seems well beyond us, and despite finding their goalkeeper 25 times in the air, our goalkeeper couldn't do it once. We're destined to go down. We've got bad players, we've got no money, and I hate everything about them.
Oh, I mean, that was a great effort for the first time of that. We should end it now. We should end it now, really.
You see, on the one hand, you've got a lot of sympathy for that, haven't you? You can kind of go, I recognise that. That's where we were a lot of the time last year. Tear it all down, hate it, hate everyone, get in the bin. And on the other hand, I quite enjoy seeing Everton having a miserable time of it this year. It has to be their turn.
They're in the third year of it, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've just bought a big striker, though, haven't they?
But is it Beto they got?
Yeah. Deitch has got his Portuguese Vegost, 6'4", can't control it. That's basically what I read about. Scoring loads of goals, but one of the big things is that he's got like the lowest, the stats, I don't know what it is, kicking a ball straight in the Serie A is what he seems to struggle with. But I think as long as Jackie Harrison can just put a cross on his head, good luck.
I must admit, when I saw them linked with him, I did see, even from a picture, I could tell that he's far more what they're after than. They need him more than Willie Gnonto, because you could just tell his shoulders looked about 6 foot wide, and he was just a massive, massive man. And sure enough, yeah, when you see him, the full picture of him, you're like, yeah, makes perfect sense. Of course, Deitch wants him.
Yeah, no axe to grind with Everton as a club, fine club, but it feels like they just need to pay the price this year, finally. And a bit of buyer's remorse around Deitch as well.
Yeah, it would be good if they went down, because it means we get Harrison back.
Yeah,
we do anyway, but there's no contesting it then, is there? Because if you didn't want to play for us in the Championship, you won't want to play for Everton, where he doesn't even have a contract in the Championship, so we'll just have him back and that'll be fine.
It's an interesting picture of what could have happened to us, because if Allardyce had kept us up last year, you wonder if we'd have kept Allardyce.
No, I don't.
Do you not think there's a chance?
No.
See, I feel like you'd have been like, I'll do it for another year.
But he had that attitude even after taking us down, but with Carl Robinson as his anointed son, which he was still, even now you still occasionally get, because he's cropping up going like, oh, what I would do with this and that at Leeds. And like, well, maybe if they're giving it to Carl, then this would be happening. We didn't want to give it to fucking Carl Robinson. We wanted Daniel Farke.
I think when you compare what's happened and I know the word, aggressive has been used around this window, starting to revise that into kind of, it's might be more of a considered window, and the way that they've approached the recruitment has pleased me. The way that they're trying to do it. I just don't see any of that fitting with Sam Allardyce. Not what they were trying to do.
Well, no, and also like the flip of all these players leaving on loan is that they're all players that we didn't want to keep. Like as fans, whether the club saw value in Rasmus Christensen or Brendan Aronson for the future, I don't think there's anybody who's particularly sorry that they're playing for other teams this season.
I mean, Michael's delighted that Aronson's gone, aren't you?
Yeah, thrilled.
Massive.
And Adams.
Yeah.
So it is sort of the, people say that it's not a valid thing to say, oh, it's all right to go down because you can have a good season in the Championship. But genuinely, what would we rather be doing now? Facing up to the Premier League with the same team as last season, tweaked, because unless, I don't know how we would have afforded to do much else to it, or being in the Championship with all of that stuff gone and the hope that we can do. And we scored 4 goals. When we won a game. So I don't know if we were going to win a game in the Premier League. So Everton stay up. Second time, actually, that they've stayed up, and they just have another season like they had last season where they're fighting against relegation. At least we will end this year on an open top bus.
I mean, I'd rather watch Jed Spence running up and down our right wing than Rasmus Christensen punting aimless balls down into the channel. What about you?
Listen, he had 30 touches this week and he only gave the ball away 10 times.
Right. Is that all?
Did Rasmus Christensen. Subbed off at half-time. Just to complete a bit of loan watch there.
Loan watch.
Yeah, they lost 2-1.
Oh, dear.
Llorente was also taken off at half-time as well in that same game. And Christensen remains the lowest-ranked player for Roma, other than their goalkeeper, who seems to be have let in every shot more or less this season, from looking at the stats.
Isn't Roma's goalkeeper somebody whose name I recognise? The old Wolves keeper, yeah.
What's his name?
Is it Patricio?
That's the one, Rui Patricio.
Yeah, he's supposed to be good.
Not anymore. Not playing. Who'd have thought sticking him behind Llorente has completely shot his confidence to pieces?
Should we move on to another clip then? Who's next?
Well, should we stick on Americans?
Yep.
I found a clip, saw it doing the rounds of these are Nashville fans. And I know some of the USMNT, I exclude obviously the actual Square Ball subscribers to this from this, but the people who think that we were horrible to Adams and Aronson, and that's why that's why they couldn't stay. Mm-hmm. This is Nashville fans, and this is the sort of sickening abuse that's been dished out in the MLS.
Because we sang "You're Not Fit to Wear the Shirt" at the end of last season, which some people didn't like, and got a little bit tasty, didn't it? Presumably, this goes way beyond that.
Yeah, it's directed at Messi as well, one of the greats.
The GOAT. Here we go. Was that Messi sucks?
Messi sucks.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't, does he?
No, no.
I mean, how's he going
to
recover from that?
I mean, I did think that. You hear much worse stuff directed at Leeds players every single game. If only they would be like, "Did you say I suck?" No, I said you're a fucking shit bastard. Oh, okay, sorry.
Get off, and I never want to see you again.
There is somebody there who ought to. Don't look at my laptop.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to show me something on it.
No, I'm about to quiz you on it. The assistant coach at Nashville should be putting a stop to that kind of thing, because who is that?
I've got a feeling it's going to be sort of a League One or Championship era player that we didn't like much.
I don't think they didn't stay long enough for us to really have an opinion, or to overcome the fact that
David Livermore,
that they had previously played 105 games for the Port Vale, who do suck. If anybody's not clear on that, any bids?
Port Vale.
105 games for Port Vale, 12 goals, and then
Michael Brown.
146 games for Leicester and 9 goals, and then
Junior Lewis. No,
33 games for Celtic, and then he went back to Leicester in the same year
Brendan
as he
Rodgers?
was.
Matt Elliott.
No. Come on. Think Fish.
Peter Haddock.
No, he would never have let Port Vale affect him.
Nicola Sturgeon.
Started at Wycombe Wanderers in 1989. Played 178 games for them.
Strong Martin O'Neill links then.
Has got 1 England cap.
Steve
Guppy. There we go.
We got there.
Is assistant coach at Nashville, having formerly played for DC United and the Rochester Rhinos. In 2008, he was still playing.
Definitely worth the run up there, I felt.
Rochester were originally known as the Rochester Raging Rhinos. You see, this is why we can't dismiss soccer in the USA, because it's just this patchwork of interest. And where else are you going to get a club called the Rochester Raging Rhinos? The old Triple R's.
Back on these shores.
Co-owned now by Jamie Vardy. Of course, it's them, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Rochester, that lot who are in the MLS Next Pro.
Come on, by now.
Yeah.
Webby and O'Neill, brilliant. Are they back together now?
Webby's back, yeah. He's talking about Anthony Martial here, and I think he takes Anthony Martial a bit too seriously.
You know, there's people in there, that pitch, and I've come on here, this channel, been on local radio shows, defending Martial. I can't do it anymore. I cannot do it anymore, so I've lost good friends by defending him.
People are falling out over.
He's lost actual good friends.
Right.
Have you ever fallen out with anyone
over a footballer?
Over a footballer. You might have been like, "Oh, I think Jermaine Wright's doing okay," and they were like, "Fuck off."
I say we're done here.
Don't ever speak to me again, prick.
You're off my Christmas card list. Fuckface.
I think just calm down about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very serious matter, Anthony Marshall. Clearly.
Serious enough for local radio programmes. You think like 3-hour documentaries. We must defend Anthony Marshall.
What's good friends, mate? Now,
let's go black and white banter.
Okay.
And the banter is one joke.
Right.
Spread out over the course of 13 minutes.
Isn't that what we do?
Well, maybe so, but we've
been keeping the Wills probate conveyance in there, and that's a commercial deal we've got. We've been keeping that going for months now.
That's contractually obliged, though.
Yeah.
This is...
And a pleasure.
Yes.
You made it sound like some kind of burden, but to me...
Do they do contract law?
I imagine so.
Yeah, we don't want to be getting into the contractual status of our sponsorship with Levi Solicitors.
The actual firm of solicitors.
So let's just say we all enjoy it and appreciate it and love it.
I've looked on their website for long enough that I've probably got a qualification.
And yet you've memorised none of it, because when you're asked to come up with something other than the big three, you've got nothing. So I don't know. You sure you're looking at the right website?
They do.
Anyway.
I think they do jeans, jackets, some t-shirts.
Anyway,
so yeah, this is black and white banter. Yeah, like I said, I think this was about 15 minutes or something, but I've just chopped it down into the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not very often I'm speechless. I feel like a Scouser has just robbed me house. It's the Liverpool match for Newcastle fans, so if you want to, make sure you stick around. But I'm going to be struggling for words on this one.
They got through and they managed to get a goal, basically.
A bit of a smash and grab. I feel like I've been robbed by a Scouser. My house has been robbed by a Scouser.
Basically, at the end of the day, your house has been robbed by a Scouser, and you can't win by it. There's nothing you can do about it, but...
It feels like a Scouser has come into my house and basically robbed us. That's what it feels like. It feels like I was fast asleep and someone has taken it. Yeah, I agree. If someone's shouting in the background, they agree with us. I feel like I've just had all my possessions stolen from those from Merseyside.
Wow, that's great.
It's good to finish by explaining what being robbed is.
I mean,
and what a Scouser is.
Yeah. We genuinely do flog some jokes to death. But there's that and there's that.
Really pleased with those. Like, I'm going to mention this to everyone I speak to.
I really enjoyed the lad who repeated back to him the joke that he just made to him. That was the icing on the cake for me there.
If only he'd explained what a burglary was.
Yeah.
He wasn't robbed by a Scouser anyway. He's robbed by Marcelo Bielsa. We pick up on this that
Dishing
it was
out tips, aren't they?
Because Darwin Núñez is fed up of being taught absolutely nothing by his useless club boss. Got on with his national team manager. I had a chat with Bielsa over Zoom.
This guy's telling me nothing.
Núñez said he showed me some of my games and corrected some things. It was a very good talk. And then what's happening straight away? Like, those finishes were incredible.
He showed me videos of Pat Bamford and Tyler Roberts.
And incredible for the fact that nobody thought Núñez was going to score either of them. And obviously, there's a bit of Bielsa is ruffling some feathers in Uruguay. Obviously, one, because he may not be picking Suarez and who's the other old codger that they want shot of?
Cavani?
Yeah. Because he might not be picking them when the squads are announced to be the same as these. They're like royalty. You can't not. So, but if you can get
no sacred cows for Marcelo though.
If you can get Núñez scoring like that, he doesn't need them. And then also Claudio Pagini, who transformed Uruguay's national team training centre, which they call the Celestial Complex, which is quite exciting.
I love that.
Over the last 12 years, he's transformed it into one of the best training centres in the world that all the players praise and enjoy. He's quit because of disagreements with Bielsa about changes in the infrastructure driven by Bielsa, with which Pagini did not agree.
Is it beds?
But the work was carried out during the last 3 months by Maria Eugenia, the architect's sister of Bielsa. This included the elimination of the press room and the construction of a sports performance office, in addition to maintenance of the pitches, paved roads, and a new irrigation system.
A lot of this sounds really, really familiar.
Yeah, except...
Is Bielsa just on a big con to get...
civil engineering
to get some building work done? Has he gotten in?
Well, he did...
It's all part. Did he have people flying in to do this building work?
His entire first year's wages at Leeds and Moore got spent on building the Jorge Griffer training centre at Newell's. He just built that for them out of his sense of kind of guilt and wanting to honour his mentor. But the contract for that was with Maria Eugenia Architects as well. So I don't know if it's kind of if that money circled back somehow. And you got to remember, while he was with us, he was suing. He was having industrial tribunals with Lille, and there was still legal action with Marseille about the way he was lost his jobs in France. So he's generous, but also I think I've always got the impression that he doesn't like money resting in the hands of fuckwits. So he is better spending the money he is owed by Lille than just leaving it with the people who run Lille. Is kind of his kind of thing. Knows his worth, put it that way, and is also impeccable and
legally sound,
like above board in every contract that he ever.
There's going to be somebody who watches this or listens to it and goes, "You bastard!"
Yeah, it's going to be,
and it is a joke,
broken out all over.
Just for stressing purposes, that is a joke.
Argentina, they would accuse Marcelo Bielsa of. Funneling money through his.
He knocked on my door once. Said he'd been doing some work on a neighbour's roof, and he'd seen my roof, and he said it looked like it needed some repairs doing.
When were you last up there? Oh, I've not seen it for years. Well,
he said it looked bad, and he said he
don't even go up.
He said he had a mate who could sort it out. Just £800. That's all it was.
Let's do. Should we do Binks and UFC?
Yeah, we'll stick on a bit of Newcastle. I actually had the privilege of watching this game with some Newcastle fans because I was down in London for his christening, and my cousin, who's baby was being christened, his wife and family are from Newcastle, so got to watch this with them, and it was fairly funny. I kept maintained a diplomatic silence, but obviously there was a lot of excitement with them taking the lead and Dyke being sent off and everything. They just got to watch this unfold, and I just admit when the winner went in, I did sort of go.
Yeah, I was in.
It's quite funny.
In Balbriggan, just north of Dublin, on Sunday night ahead of the wedding on Monday, and we just went for a bit of a walk at sort of tea time on the beach just to get some fresh air or whatever, not wanting to be cooped up, inside all day. And just as we were walking back up to the hotel, there was a massive roar went up. And I thought, no way have they done it. No way. Because last time I checked, it was 1-1 on my phone. And a big old roar went up. Because apparently they're quite fond of Liverpool in Ireland, some of them.
But yeah, this is a man in the stadium at full time. And it just, the speed with which it descends from not quite believing it to being furious about it is delightful.
We've done it. You've been it, lost the ball yet again. Anyhow, got a vote today, substitutions. Fuck it! Absolutely fucked it, man!
Dear me.
Fucked it, man!
I mean, we've all been there in that moment.
Never felt myself saying it, though.
How quickly they're turning on Guimaraes, eh? Lost the ball again.
Howe.
Yeah. It's time for the chop.
Could well be.
Right. Okay, we're all done there with propaganda for this week.
That'll do, won't it?
Yeah, good.
I've not yet listened to any Leeds clips from Salford. That's the game we had.
We don't need to do it.
Might stick some in the member show, the second bit of it that we'd do in a day or two.
We don't need to
see what people have got to say. They might maybe Mathieu and his brother have called in.
Yeah, we do have bonus clips.
Jean-Pierre Papin.
Some bonus clips go into the member show, which we assemble over the course of the week, and then we release that towards the back end of the week. So, but the problem is, once we've pumped another 6 past Sheffield Wednesday, the Salford clips might be out of date. That's all I'm thinking. Joel Pirro hat-trick at Ellen Road at the weekend. And then I keep saying DJ. Do you know what it is? The signing of Jed Spencer's really knackered me up from a words point of view and autocorrect, because the past tense of DJ is DJ'd. So my phone, if someone says, "Oh, did you work last night?" "Oh, I DJ'd in Tiger." So every time my brain goes to DJ'd.
So the answer was no.
Was what did I DJ last night?
No, did you work last night? It's like, no, DJ'd in Tiger.
And hated every minute of it. Did a lot of soul searching over the course of that 6 or 7 hours.
That's why people were running up to you going, "Oh, can you play Waterloo?" It's like, I'm on the phone to my therapist. I can't do this right now.
Oh, just go for the ABBA Mega Mix, get it all out of the way in one go. It's fine. Yeah, right. We'll wrap it up there then. Jed Spencer, I was going to say, I'll do it again. A debut goal, not a DJ goal. And whoever scores the other two, super. We will wrap it up there. We will see you for more propaganda after the Sheffield Wednesday game next week. We'll see you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.